Okay guys, so in our last note we took a look at just an introduction to polynomials. Today we're going to take a look at multiplying binomials. So we started looking at some of the operations with polynomials. This is the next step where we look at multiplying binomials. And it's really just an extension of the distributive law, and you'll see that when we start working our way through this. So we're going to look at an interesting method for multiplying binomials. So I want to multiply 2x plus 7, which is a binomial, times 3x plus 4. And you can see what I've done is I've created 2x plus 7 on this side and 3x plus 4 on the top side. And so really, if I'm multiplying those two things together and they're a length and a width, I'm really trying to find the area of this big rectangle. But if I break it down into pieces and I find the area of each piece, so if I find the area of the top rectangle here, that's going to be 2x times 3x, and that's going to give me 6x squared. If I find the area of the top right rectangle, that's going to be 2x times 4, that's going to give me 8x. The bottom left rectangle is going to be 7 times 3x, that's going to equal 21x, and the bottom right rectangle is going to be 7 times 4, and that's going to give me 28. And so if I want the area of the big rectangle, which is what I get when I multiply these two binomials together, it's going to look like this: 6x squared plus 21x plus the 8x, and then plus the 28. And when I simplify things there, so we talked about this the other day, collecting the like terms together. So those two terms are like each other. If I collect them together, I get 29x in the middle. And this is what I get for my answer. So now the question is, can you see a way or a pattern to get from the question to the answer without drawing the rectangles? And what you realize is that to get this first value here, all I really did was I multiplied 2x times 3x, and that gave me 6x squared. And to get this term here, I did 2x times 4, and I got 8x. And to get this term, 21x, I did 7 times 3x, give me 21x. And then I did 7 times 4 and got 28. So it's not really necessary to draw the rectangle, but it's neat to see how the rectangle connects to what we're doing here. But when you look at what I've just drawn here with the arrows, it's like double distributive law. Because basically, I have to do distributive law with the 2x. So the 2x has to multiply by each term in the other bracket. And then the 7 has to do the same thing. It has to multiply by each term in the other bracket. So many teachers and textbooks refer to this as FOIL, and that stands for first, outside, inside, and last. So if I'm multiplying 5x times 2x, I'm multiplying the two first terms in the brackets together. So the first term in one bracket times the first term in the other bracket gives me 10x squared. Then I multiply the outside terms. So the outside terms are the 5x and the 9. That gives me 45x. Then the inside terms are these two terms. So negative 3 times 2x is going to give me negative 6x. And then the last term in each bracket, so the negative 3 is last in the first bracket, the 9 is last in the second bracket, and if I multiply those together, I get negative 27. So that's where the first, outside, inside, and last comes from. And then we collect the like terms, so 10x squared. Those two middle terms can add together, so 45x minus 6x is plus 39x, and then I have minus 27 on the end, and that would be my final answer for that. All right, so what I'm going to get you guys to do here is go ahead and try 1A on your own. So I'm going to pause things. So there's what your solution should look like, for example, 1A there. So check and see how you did there. And then when we get into question B here, when we've got a monomial out in front here, and then the two binomials, it's usually easier arithmetic to expand and simplify the bracket part first, then multiply the monomial that's out in front afterwards. So if I do that, so I'm going to, this minus 5 is going to weigh out in front. I'm going to open a bracket, and when I do FOIL or double distributive property on these two brackets, I'm going to leave the answer in a bracket, and I'll multiply the negative 5 in afterwards. So I've got 4x times 2x, 8x squared. I've got 4x times minus 5, minus 20x. Then I've got to multiply negative 6 by 2x. That's negative 12x. And negative 6 times negative 5, when I multiply those two, I'm going to get plus 30. I can simplify inside the bracket first, because just as we've seen in the other examples, these middle two terms often can be simplified together. So if I collect those together, that's negative 32x, and then plus 30. And now I can finally multiply the negative 5 that was waiting out in front by each of those three terms. So when I do that, I end up with negative 40x squared, plus 160x, and then minus 150. And that's what my final answer would look like for that one. Okay, so in this one here, we've got two of these situations. We've got this situation here. We've got this situation here. Okay, I'm going to get you guys to go ahead and try and simplify each of those two parts, and then I'll help you with the collecting like terms at the end. Okay, so I'm going to pick up here. Hopefully you're able to get down to this point where we multiplied the two binomials together and simplified those. So when we multiply and simplify those, we get this in the first bracket. And when we multiply the second set of binomials and we simplify those, we get x squared minus 2x minus 8. I multiplied the 3 inside this first bracket. Now I have to multiply negative 2 inside the second bracket. So negative 2 times x squared is going to give me negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times negative 2x is going to give me plus 4x. And negative 2 times negative 8 is going to give me plus 16 there. Now I can collect like terms. So I've got 15x squared minus a 2x squared. So that's going to give me 13x squared. I've got a plus 81x and a plus 4x. So when I combine those together, I get plus 85x. And then I've got a plus 30 and a plus 16. So that's going to give me plus 46. So that's what my final answer would look like for that one. So there's lots of steps involved in that one. You really have to be careful. We're going to practice this tomorrow in class. So we'll see you tomorrow.